Good afternoon and welcome to another podcast. Bloody hell, there's so much to talk about. Firstly, let me say I'm back in work. Lockdown is starting to be eased in the UK a little bit, so my uploads will be now and again, probably two videos every 2 weeks, every 2 videos a week. But I can't say the day exactly or anything. I'm just working around what we've got to work with at the moment. So yeah. Wow, 2 Formula 1 Grand Prix, 2 Grand Prix at the same circuit, 2 very different Grand Prix, one dry qualifying, one wet weather qualifying. Mercedes winning both races, predictable. Probably could have got 2 1-2s, to be honest. It didn't seem that much of an issue. A lot of retirements in the first race, some close calls in the second race. Let's start with the first race. So shaking up grid slightly because of a couple of grid penalties and everything. Bottas pretty much had that race in the bag unless his car had any problems, which it didn't. It had a couple of issues with sensors on the curbs, but overall it was fine. Pace really good from Mercedes. Surprise, surprise, nothing new there. Red Bull very quick but not reliable. Alex Albon. I think that, I looked over it a few times, the incident between him and Hamilton, and I think it's a slightly more of a racing incident than people are deeming it to be. I think a lot of people are thinking it's an issue. Hamilton had already started braking. He couldn't brake any more than he could have. He'd already turned in. He knew Albon was there, of course, but he'd already turned in. So if he runs wide, Albon probably should have backed out and waited. I think if he did, he might have had a shot at winning that race and definitely getting on the podium. Having said that, I am very happy that McLaren got their second podium in 3 races. Lando Norris got his first podium. It was fantastic, and what a run from him, 3rd and a 5th in the 2 races, which puts him 3rd in the driver standings and McLaren 2nd in the Constructors' Championship. Obviously this may change towards the end of the year. We expect Red Bull to be at least 2nd place, but McLaren could get a solid 3rd if they keep the pace going. Obviously Ferrari are going to bring some big updates, which we're yet to see. More in the first race, so a few retirements in terms of reliability, which is fair enough. Everyone's saying, well, they've had plenty of time. Well, they haven't really. Everyone's been away, everyone's been locked down, and like Christian Horner said, it is still the first race of the season, regardless of where it is or what time it is. It is still the first race. They're still discovering things about the cars and everything, so fair enough, whatever, that's fine. The race was quite interesting, the first one. I rated both Grand Prix on my Twitter account, giving the Austrian Grand Prix a 9 out of 10 and the Styrian Grand Prix 7 out of 10, which I'll review a bit later on. Overall, great race, good finish. It was nice to see so many different teams in the top 10. Alfa Romeo scoring points, AlphaTauri racing points, Ferrari getting a 2nd place, which is insane. Probably their best finish of the season, I doubt, unless we get similar problems in races that they'll finish that high again. We'll have to see. Overall, the first race of the season was very good, very positive, very entertaining. I enjoyed it. It's nice to see racing back. Second race of the season, the Styrian Grand Prix, obviously the same circuits, but obviously named differently due to rights and promotion and everything. Wet weather qualifying, which is brilliant, really exciting. Some standout performers in the wet. Ferrari were nowhere. Racing Point didn't really have an idea of what was going on with their car in the wet. Mercedes again very quick. Lewis Hamilton very fast. Great pole position by him. McLaren very good. Carlos Sainz in 3rd place. That was really good. Max Verstappen was up there as well. He probably could have taken pole if he had another lap, maybe. I don't know. It's very tricky to tell in those conditions with the cars. They've not really done any wet weather testing, so that was interesting. Really good qualifying, which led to quite an interesting race. Got a bit stale in the middle, but overall was really exciting. Quite exciting at the start. The 2 Ferraris colliding. On the Leclerc-Vettel incident, it's a tough one again because of the concertina effect into turn 3. If I was Leclerc, probably would have stuck it up the inside as well. There was space, but obviously it pincered together. He didn't do it intentionally. He apologised straight away. And everyone, was rinsing him, but everyone makes mistakes. It's fair enough. He was apologised. He said whatever. They spoke to Vettel, blah, blah, blah. The incident between him and Leclerc in Brazil last year was, in my opinion, Vettel's fault because he was the one who moved across on his teammate. And Vettel was the one screaming and crying about it. I didn't see him apologise. So, interesting one, to be honest. Personally, I'm looking forward to Carlos Sainz partnering Leclerc next year at Ferrari. Should be very interesting. I think Leclerc will probably come out on top, but you never know. You don't know. It'll be interesting. I think it's time for Vettel to leave Formula One. I mulled it over a few times. I think it's time for him to leave. and hopefully do something else. You never know, he might go to Le Mans. Ferrari are assessing their options in other championships. Could go to IndyCar, we'll have to see. I'm sure there's a bright future ahead of him, I just think it's not in Formula 1. In terms of the rest of the Styrian Grand Prix, George Russell disappointing at the start because he went off trying to pass one of the Haas's. I think it was Magnussen. He had a great qualifying to 11th, and he was running 11th at the time. That's a big disappointment, but you learn from these mistakes. I think he would be well suited at Mercedes or another team, honestly. I genuinely think he would be. You remember he was GP2 champion 2018, so yeah, I think he'd be really good up there. A couple of other standout performers, Lando Norris again. Definitely very talented, but he was in the right place at the right time, I think, on the final lap. Ricciardo and Stroll were battling on the final couple of laps. He overtook them, which was really good. Really great moves. Obviously, Sergio Perez and Alex Albon got quite close. I thought Perez could have had Albon, but never mind. Perez still got a solid haul of points, as did Stroll did, and Norris a fantastic pass in the final corner, and the finish was great. It was a really close finish between a few drivers, so that was really good. Into the race overall was good. It was nice to see Albon get some points, Red Bull points on the board, which moves him, I think, third in the Constructors' Championship now, which is brilliant. I will leave a picture of both the drivers and the Constructors' Championships at the end of this video, so you can have a look for yourself. So overall, yeah, 2 really good weekends. Hungary this weekend should be a good race. A very different circuit though, a lot sort of slow and technical than Austria. There's only one real big sort of straight there, so it'll be interesting to see some other teams. I think Williams might be a bit higher this time. I think Ferrari might have a bit more of a chance because it's a more level playing field, and I think Red Bull will do really well. Red Bull will do really well. So I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, overall I'm very pleased that racing's back. What a crazy couple of weeks, and another week to come, and then another gap, and then some more races. Obviously some other tracks have been confirmed, which we'll have to see how that goes. It's not a point talking about them now because anything can change in this championship this year, so we'll see. Valtteri Bottas leading the championship by a couple of points, that's good. Lewis still looks really good though, so we'll have to see how that goes. The other big news, and the final big news I'm going to talk about very briefly, is Fernando Alonso returning to the championship with Renault. Honestly, this is my genuine honest opinion, I think it's really stupid. Honestly, I think it's stupid. I think, if you look back over former Formula 1 world champions, big names in Formula 1 that have left the championship and come back, most of them have been unsuccessful, and I generally think that Fernando Alonso's return will be unsuccessful. The only thing, I think he'll stay in the championship 2-3 seasons max, maybe to the 2022-2023 kind of era, see what the new regs bring. If the car isn't good, then he'll bail, and I don't think he'll move around again. I think he'll just go to Renault, stay there for a couple of years, and then leave again. I don't know. Personally, I think if people leave, they should leave. It's your time to leave the championship. When Michael Schumacher retired for the first time, it was his time to leave. He'd won everything there was to win. He'd still competitive. He finished runner-up in that season, and he decided, I'm going to end on a high. And then he came back, and yeah, it was exciting. It was, great to see him, but he just produced nothing. He got one podium out of, let's say, luck, a pole position. Honestly, I just don't think it's worth it for Fernando Alonso, and I think that Renault should take their driver academy more seriously and give someone, in there a chance. But that's, whatever. There's many different things. Everyone has their own opinion. That's just my opinion. So yeah, we've got the Hungarian Grand Prix this weekend. Hopefully we'll have some more fireworks, and we'll have to see how the racing gets on. Overall, I'm really pleased with how everything's gone so far, and I'm very much looking forward to talking about more motorsport in the near future. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all in the next video.